Now Demonte in the backline onto Dokel. He goes, finishing off the job he started. What a clean execution. Phoenix might be able to turn it back around. Speaker going to be the target. Phoenix continuing to throw very nice cues. Demonte, though, dashing in, has the execute ready to go. Flips over, gets one, maybe makes it two onto a ball, but it's going to be close and not quite enough. Back into the trail we go. Dig fighting for their lives, but not quite able to get it for Demonte. It's Phoenix, so able to play clean up, make it a triple, but here's the flank. Again, the pinch comes in for Brandini and Giyu. Rupture finds two. They're going to eat Rikara. He goes down instantly as Giyu now going to dive back around, gets the Vanguard dead down. He's still dancing around his teammates as Matt finds a Devour, and it takes down Schernfire. 2v3 now for the rest of EG, and definitely needed to be protected. Andrews chasing down Jenkins, though he might be able to carry the fight. A triple kill for the jungler, a quadra kill for the jungler. Isui falls, Schernfire and Rikara the only ones left alive, but the CC is there, the Nexus is bare, and Evil Geniuses Academy are going to finish off this kill, take down the Nexus, and sweep TL out of playoffs. Hello and welcome back to your Super Week of Playoff League of Legends action. I am Julian Petrie-Tamkar, joined by Alberto Crumbs-Rengifo to bring you back into the Spring 2020 Academy Playoffs for DIGA Academy versus Evil Geniuses Academy. Crumbs, how you doing, man?
I am doing really well. The rain has kept me in, so I've been looking into more League of Legends stuff, and it turns out that this is going to be such a tight series because, well, for one, we haven't even seen Dignitas play, but they were the second seed coming into playoffs.
That's true. We are into the semifinals now, so we'll take a look at how we got to this point here in Academy as we pull the bracket up. In the semifinals, and TSM also a clean through versus 100 Thieves, but two very different teams, as you said, Crumbs. We haven't seen either of them yet, but Cloud9 and Dignitas, the 1 and 2 seeds here for a reason.
Yeah, and TSM, while their win was really impressive over 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses is 6-1 with Giyu, including the playoff games and the time that he played in the regular season. So they are actually on a really hot tear with this roster. So I totally see why Cloud9 would like to play against TSM instead.
Yeah, certainly seems like they'll both have tough matchups. But for me, I think EG are the hardest non-Cloud9 team. I mean, Dignitas have certainly dropped off towards the end of it. And as you mentioned, since Giyu joined the roster, it feels like EG have just been on an absolute tear. So will be interesting to see how those mid laners match up. So we'll have a look at Giyu versus Demonte. Demonte looks so good in the early weeks of the season, but I feel like the late weeks certainly belong to EG's new mid lane.
They absolutely have been. And luckily, we actually got to see these two players go head-to-head in one game. So it was in March 20th, so not too long ago, and the game was actually really close, 2-2 until it wasn't. It ended up 13-3 in the favor of Evil Geniuses, and mid lane was a point for Giyu to have a lot of flexibility to roam. It was roams to the top lane, to the bottom lane, playing the Zoe and impacting side lanes that really got ahead of Dignitas. Demonte normally wanted to do that role, but Giyu was one step ahead, so that might be the foreshadowing for what's to come today.
Yeah, certainly have seen different styles from these teams. EG have been very mid-game oriented and really just playing together as a team. You mentioned the roams from Giyu. It feels like their team play is the thing that's really set them apart, which is impressive for a team that has changed multiple different players throughout this season. For Dig, it's the same thing that got them to 8-0 in the first place before they started dropping off. It's pick winning lanes and win the game. But both these teams, Crumbs, have had issues in the mid to late game, especially around objectives. So if the games drag on, even if the teams get a lead, as you can see, their gold leads here look very good, but they keep the gold leads surprisingly close as well for two teams that have looked so solid. So we could be in for a doozy of a season,
yeah.
Let's put it.
The gold leads not changing means that the teams are not doing their best at snowballing, or that they perhaps are and falling back on some major plays that give them some setbacks. Regardless, that just means that inside the game, we're going to have a lot of back and forth, whether it's a dragon fight that turns into a Baron or a bad call that turns into a backdoor. Backdoors have been the name of playoffs, I think. And yesterday, if you liked what you saw, I think that today, with how close those gold graphs were, I think we're actually going to see at least one of the games end that way.
Yeah, but of course, we couldn't talk about either of these teams without talking about all three of their junglers. Ander has been a superstar, honestly, for Evil Geniuses. He's 4-1 on Olaf in particular, which certainly is a pick that I imagine will be at least given attention to by Greg. But Greg, on the other hand, only played it once. It's a loss, so not much to take away there. But Acadian leaving this team feels like the bigger story. It's like he was such a big part of this team alongside Demonte. Him going into the LCS to try and help Dig out there for their playoff chances means that now Greg is left to kind of battle with a team that he didn't didn't expect to be playing with. And I'm not saying that he's the sole reason for Dignitas dropping games. Certainly, they dropped games with Acadian as well. But this has not been the same team that we thought was going to be the undisputed first place team, maybe even undefeated team come this time.
They didn't ride out the whole season with the roster. And whether the jungle position affects the team or not, the fact that everybody else has to deal with a new playstyle, different kind of voice, shot calling, will mean that you just have less time to adjust to Grig's style. They obviously can flex them back and forth here, but I think it would be an injustice to do so. And you'd really want to see Dignitas actually get the playoff win here, because with the two LCS and Academy lineups, moving Acadian up really was a move of resources to try to get in playoffs here. And now that they didn't make it into the LCS, if they would also fail to deliver in the Academy front, it would really just, it would sting, because you just dropped the ball into.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens here in our first champ selects. We do have Grig in at least for game 1, and EG is the roster we expected. Yuumi, Kalista, and Tom Kench, though, the first few bans. We didn't get a chance to talk about the bot lanes yet, but certainly both have had their moments this season. Definitely, and Matt in particular have looked very good recently. Phoenix and Ole maybe still building some of that synergy back up, but Senna also going to continue our trend of banning out bot lane picks here, because if there's one thing I can tell you about Phoenix, he's really good at harassing opponents and just outplaying you. So Senna, it's kind of a weird for a supportive champion, but that is not something you want to be giving Phoenix. He's very, very good on that champion.
No, and you don't want to give that much confidence for a player that has a likelihood to maybe get caught out to be able to place from so far back. You want to make sure that in the opening game, you're testing the waters and you're putting every player on picks that can be punished. And something like a Senna, if you're not really focusing your game plan around shutting that lane down, will mean that what could have been another support like a Tom Kent or a Nautilus walking into places and dying by themselves is now someone that's bullying your lane and no longer a place for you to find resources to snowball from a lane.
Well, this is such an interesting draft, because the 5th ban from Dig was Aphelios, and Syndra was the last ban for EG, so Set being first pick doesn't really surprise us given how many power picks have been banned away, but I haven't seen this much tension towards the bottom lanes in quite a while. 5 of the 6 bans were directed down there in the 2v2, so EG will answer with Ornn and MF by the looks of things. Definitely and Matt certainly prefer to be on the winning side of most of their matchups, but we've seen the Ezreal from both Phoenix and Definitely as well. That's something that's also been popping back up, so maybe we'll get Phoenix's Ezreal again. We've also seen it being flexed mid, and of course there's something like a Varus, which is selected now, which Phoenix can fall back to as well, so that's going to join Braum there for all.
Love the Braum here, being able to, you get so much value already from this Braum pick. Like, you block Ornn, and you can block Misfortune. What more do you need from your support? Ole has his job cut out for him this game. It's going to be very important that he actually delivers on that. Otherwise, you're not doing anything from this pick. But they have a very powerful setup for 2v2ing down here. The ability to lock somebody down, whether it's the concussive blows into Varus, Chains of Corruption, means that Cleanse is something that will probably be looked at from a lot of EG players, or at least some QSSs. That is going to mean that this probably is going to go pretty late. You've got Ornn, you've got Jarvans and the Misfortunes. People want to farm to get their items.
We've certainly seen the metagame from at least like the first 4 or 5 weeks of Academy, let's say, shift slowly towards more tanks being in with those items being buffed, and much more mid to late game. Like, we've seen way more team fights, I feel like, than we did in the more snowbally versions of the game in the early weeks.
I think it happens
so
almost every tournament where you start the regular tournament like, oh, early game. It's all about the early game. You got to know how to close a game out, and then playoffs come around where games really matter, and suddenly everyone goes full lockdown. You got to go late. If you don't have the late, you're not winning.
That's true. Olaf and Trundle, though, kind of surprising bans for EG. We highlighted Anders' success on that pick, and Grig's only one play and was the loss, although again, not really much data to take away from. But actually picking Jarvan and then banning away 2 junglers here, so giving Grig some respect. Maybe he's been playing more of those picks. Again, we haven't seen Dignitas yet in the playoffs, so they could potentially have been hiding some things as well. I do also appreciate the Aurelia respect here as well, given over to Giyu, who has looked very good on that champion. But with Syndra ban and Zoe dropping through this late, this feels like a very easy pickup for Giyu. So not only do we say after 1 game, Crumbs, that you shouldn't give Giyu Zoe, this is like perfect conditions for Zoe at this point.
It really is. I mean, they have Jarvan and Zoe, so you've got a really great setup. Mid lane is going to be in a lot of trouble. Whether you take cleanse or not, the Jarvan can always come at you. So this is EG crafting a very powerful 2v2 to hopefully transition into side lanes. I'm so excited to see what Damonte's got for this, because you have counter picks like Zillion that you can always play. You've got all these very high skilled mid laners, but I suspect something like a Cassiopeia would just be the one and done. Oh!
Alright. That's Yasuo. That one's interesting. It does pair well with Gragas, which was the jungler of choice here for Dignitas, so I like the aggression.
Yes.
Certainly not the Zoe counter pick I would have expected, but I guess against Zoe the plan is to play double walls here with Braum and just try and get ahead in that mid jungle 2v2, which again we highlighted as being very important for both.
Exactly, you nailed it. It's a double wall. You've got double wall against Misfortune, against Braum, against Ornn, maybe even the Zoe. Hell, it could even work against the Nautilus, right? You can block that hook, so I think that they're crafting something to deal with a lot of members on EG. Now it's a matter of, can you lane and get out of the laning phase to get to the team fight and then execute on it? So they're putting a big burden on their execution here, but that's what you love to see. We haven't seen this team, if they have been practicing these kinds of drafts, opening the first game with a Gragas Yasuo ensures that for the rest of the series, at least you get a Yasuo ban.
I mean, again, the conditions for this draft to make Zoe that good in that spot as a blind pick was very well set up by EG, which Dignitas had to have known given how they drafted. So I'm going to give them credit for a really well navigated draft. Again, one game isn't going to tell us if Yasuo or Gragas is the right kind of counter pick here, but I at least appreciate that Dig, who as you said have been unscouted until this point, are showing something different and at least trying something, because I think the worst thing you can do against Zoe is give up the lane and just have her take over the mid game, which I feel like I've seen too many times. So we'll see how it works out. The champion select now squared away. We are going to be taking a quick commercial break to add a delay for competitive integrity, so don't go too far away. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. Hello and welcome back for Game 1. Well, we've already finished up Champ Select. We'll be jumping into the action in just a moment. But if you are just joining us now, the big highlight of that draft, Crumbs, is one of your favorites. It is Gragas Yasuo being drafted here for Dignitas.
It is absolutely one of my favorites. I'm always going to bring this up. It was the combo that I played to qualify into the LCS when we were down, backs against the wall. Gragas Yasuo, you busted out. And it's very easy to execute. Honestly, if you run it down, it revolves around just camping that lane and then finding targets with no flash and constantly throwing casts at them. If Damonte and Grig have been working on their synergy, we could be up for a very explosive game 1.
And generally, I would say the players individually should have these champions ready to go. Damonte certainly I know can play Yasuo. Greg has lots of experience on very standard junglers, and Gragas certainly fits his wheelhouse of, a slightly more aggressive jungler where he can be a bit more of a playmaker. So I like the combo. It's funny that this has kind of become the Cloud9 special, both in LCS and Academy for the longest time, that it kind of hit the point that you said where it's like, I don't get why other teams don't play this because it's not that difficult. Yes, individually these champions can be challenging, but you don't need to do absolute 110% Yasuo and Gragas in order to get use out of two ultimates, right? You just have to be willing to be able to play the lane, have your team know how to play around them, and then just run around clicking R.
Yeah, it's more important than you have the Yasuo player know what he's doing, and that the Gragas just knows that he has to camp the lane, get him ahead, and then team fights become such an easy burden. Before it was, how does Jarvan find the angle? Does the Ornn ult need to hit? All these things. Now you just see someone throw R and let Yasuo do his thing. You hopefully have Braum to help him with the shield. So the point after you get ahead should be relatively easy to execute. Does Grig blow flash on Giyu early game? Does he look for the level 6 right away into the mid lane? Are they roaming? Are they synergizing well? Because if they get that down, then they will be able to ride it all the way to the Nexus explosion.
Yeah, we do have the set as well for Lolo, so just pointing out a couple of tiny ult interactions here. So set ultimate does not trigger Yasuo ultimate, but his E will Facebreaker. It's funny because he flies into the air with them. Believe it or not, not a knock-up. He's just carrying them through the air before he tornadoes them into the ground. So that one doesn't work, but the E pullback will, I believe. And Nautilus, conversely, his ultimate will not be blocked by Windwall, but his Q, as you mentioned in champs like Crumbs, will. So there's a couple of cute little things going on as far as the ultis go back and forth, but we'll see what happens. I like the combo that Dig drafted. I think it's very aggressive. It suits their style. I think EG have also picked very comfortable champions for themselves. We already said that there is no way Giyu should be getting Zoe back, and here in Game 1, Dignitas are going to let them have it and see if they haven't got something figured out. So Game 1 here for the semi-final, our first semi-final of Academy 2020 Spring, Crumbs. Dignitas, the number 2 seed, who were at one point the far and away number 1 versus Evil Genius Academy that have crept from kind of the depths in the early weeks to near the top, finishing 3rd. Very well could have finished in 2nd given their surge late in the season. So it should be quite a close series.
Yeah, it should. And I think you hit the nail on the head in the champion select with Dignitas creating this plan against the Zoe. Because I'm with you. You should probably not let you have this pick again, considering it was what he played in the same match, EG versus Dignitas, a few weeks ago. The reason why I think this was specifically crafted against Zoe was the Irelia ban. You know that you really prioritizes that, and you don't want to be playing Irelia against Yasuo. Well, getting rid of that really just prompts you to have that pick ready to go. And Syndra being banned, you know that his champion pool was likely going to fall all the way down to this when the Misfortune and Ornn were first taken. So this is a game plan, I think, against Giyu. So it could be the first time that somebody has at least tried to do something about the mid lane against Evil Geniuses.
Yep, certainly going to be looking at mid jungle for both these teams. As we can see, Greg started red with a bit of help and has gone down now to his Krug and soloed his red. So starting on the opposite side, now walking over to his blue and getting the 2 buffs up very quickly. So we'll see where the junglers do want to focus their attention. As the bottom lane 2v2 has also begun. It seems like Phoenix and Olay willing to play pretty far up here. Both these ADs are actually fairly aggressive, so certainly can see some options. But again, Olay hitting the Qs when it matters, getting rooted on the way back, but level 2 early means that Dignitas now have the early edge. And
they do that because they have that little ward on the river. It's about to die right now, but they were just trying to make sure that they don't fall for the red into bottom lane cheese that we've seen start to spread through a few teams. So instead, the Jarvan recognizes, hey, there could be a ward here and looks for a gank here. Phoenix and Ole are in some deep trouble. Let's see if Matt and definitely pull it off.
This is really nicely passed here. Flash root is going to land. The exhaust is down. Andy going to get the slow, slapping Phoenix away. They're baiting out a flash. Phoenix finally flashes, uses his barrier, but the Q is not enough. Still, Ole going to get locked up. They need a kill here. They're not going to get it, and both of Dignitas' bottom laners somehow get out there.
Wow, the defensive double summoners from Dignitas is what keeps him alive. I don't think EG anticipated that they were dealing with barrier heal and not an ignite or even an exhaust. So that is what kept them alive. They did everything they could against the Varus. He just was tanky.
You can see a couple of little interactions there in the mid lane as well. Demonte getting slept and instantly windwalling before he goes asleep to make sure the Paddle Star is more challenging to follow up. And then Giyu, of course, using his passive to auto attack, which is not a projectile that can be blocked by wind walls. So, as expected, Zoe versus melee matchups is pretty good as far as pushing and harassing goes. But to Demonte's credit, certainly knows his way around the early levels of this lane because he's kept the CS nice and even and himself in a safe spot. In fact, it's Grig that's going to wrap around the top of mid here.
Ooh, this is a good gank.
Windwall down for a bit of animation cancel. Matt is here. Good knock up, but now maybe a little too far forward. Drowsy is good. Ooh, the tornado is going to miss, and that's Grig left out to die. See ya later. First blood as Phoenix is way too late for this play. Only level 2 on the Varus. Demonte, no follow-up. Tornado. And Dig too late to save their jungler.
What a fantastic roam out of Matt that actually picks up the first blood. And think about what that does to the tempo of the game. You just saw Jarvan gank the bottom lane and get so much from the 2v2, every single summoner. Grig goes for his first gank, and as a result, he not only burns his flash, but ends up giving first blood. Now he can't even punish any lane. He's now on the back foot despite not being able to execute a gank after and pull the first one off.
Yep, also I believe slight change on the wall there. I think Demonte used it to pre-block the bubble that he expected, which was kind of a cool play as well. Again, lots of interactivity in this mid lane matchup, which is fun. But yeah, as you mentioned, just a really tight roam there from Matt and Deftly. I mean, I think Deftly didn't even go. He's just Matt. It was all they needed to get things happening there. And given the pressure that happened for Phoenix and Ole, again, losing all their summoners to Anders' early gang, that's a huge win for Evil Genius's Academy in the end.
Oh, they're so happy. The only thing they have to worry about that from is that Giyu does not have summoners now and that Demonte still has his, because Grig can just hit level 6 and the play on mid lane is still the same. Zoe, not really the best at escaping ganks, especially if she doesn't have movement speed available right away. So I need to see Grig return to the mid lane despite it being the place of his first death.
Yeah, we'll also see at least Demonte probably have his ultimate next time Grig does want to come into the mid lane. So even if Zoe's playing, you know, a screen away or so, trying to be as defensive as possible, certainly possibilities to dive, certainly have the range to try and lock down the Zoe. So for now, we'll see where Grig does want to go, as Ander has started up the first Drake of this game. It is the control ward down for EG, and Ander is going to go ahead and try and solo down this Drake and then get some help from Matt and Deftly, who have pushed in their opponents once again. In fact, Deftly's CS numbers looking nice versus Phoenix in the 1v1. He's 10 up right now.
Oh yeah, the loss of summoners for Phoenix. What? Come on. All right, that was just looking at that flag and drag on the scuttle. This is a good angle from Grig. You were mentioning that you could play really safe. Grig can always control the Raptor camp and then just ult Zoe into the Yasuo. They're looking for a 3-man here, and Yasuo does have his ultimate.
Back he goes, gonna get knocked back again, uses the flash. They're gonna have to be careful. Lola misses the face breaker, and Grig does not have the angle for the E, so this is gonna be called off.
Oh my word, that was really something else, because Grig missed the slam, and then Lorlo missed his face breaker as well. So they committed 3 people here, didn't get anything. Now EG gets to respond. We don't see it from the Fog of War, so it's pretty cool from the observers. Maybe the Zoe shows up in a brush and pops Phoenix. Yep, they're here.
Yep, nice ward, but I don't know if they can even get out of this dive. They are going to move in here. Giyu looking for the bubble, finds it, TP down here, and that's going to force EG away. So a nice defense there from Dig, but that does force Lolo down here, which gives Brandini time in the top lane.
Free. They got so much. Now Brandini, not only does he get the crash wave top, he doesn't die, and now Lolo just loses his TP. It's a really big win out of EG to just play around top lane and bottom this way.
Yeah, oh, good hook as well. Onto Matt in the 2v2. Ole gets the door up, but almost not in time. He's low enough to make it rain. He's chipping away at the health bar. Phoenix and Ole have to be careful. Grig kind of forced to be here, so it will be a 3v3. Level 6 now for the Gragas, though.
Definitely has ult. They could dive this.
TP, they're going to wing for it. They want it now. Brandini with the ulti ready to go as well. Oh, I'm going to blow the horn. No, a great ult there from Ole to buy a little bit more time, but here comes the ram. Oh, good work from Grig as the hook is going to miss from Matt. It's a bit messy under the tower. The bullet time, though, is going to finish it off, and Phoenix going to get rooted and deleted, as that's a second kill there for definitely. Now the Yasuo in amongst it, but the exhaust is nice from Matt as Brandini's trying to get away. He's low on health, but Giyu finally here to reinforce. There's a good bubble, but it doesn't extend properly, and Brandini now going to get healed, but Anda finds a flash, and that's going to be it from EG. Almost another kill is definitely, will he flash forward? He does have the discipline to hold on. The EG respond perfectly there, grabbing kills under the tower.
No man left behind. What a team play to make sure that Brandini gets out alive so that he doesn't just get obliterated from that play bottom lane. That was so good out of them. They got the TP and immediately, no hesitation, we're already down here, and they got the counter jungle, the red buff, so they can go for this dive. And while the execution wasn't as clean as you'd like, now you see that Brandini does not get his Ornn Horn. Definitely's already in the right position. He can hit a very nice ultimate from here. Hopefully it displaces the bot lane, so Phoenix has no way but to stay under the turret, and then the instant exhaust here. Watch what Anda ends up doing here, because I think he was the real hero here for Brandini. He flash combos to stop Damonte from ulting.
Yeah, and that was Giyu's heal as well, giving Brandini a bit of extra health. I was wondering where that one came from, because definitely does have cleanse. But it was the Zoe. Again, the full 5 from EG able to help out. And this has been what this team, to me, has been most impressive at, is coordinating in these early game and these mid games to just make 5-man plays or multiple people plays in so many different situations. They are incredibly quick to TP in. Giyu is always knowing when his roam timing should be. And again, for a team that had their mid laner join, what, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
They have been very impressively building coordination already.
It's crazy because our narrative for almost every single team that has a new member join at a later time, especially a new member that hasn't even played with the team before, is usually that it takes them time to adjust. There's things like jet lag and all these other elements that come into play. This might be one of the smoothest slots into a roster that we've seen, whether it's LCS or Academy.
And I will say, one of the beneficiary, and likely not by accident, of so much of this action is once again Deftly. Like, yes, he's been playing very well individually in Academy. He's 30 CS now ahead of Phoenix, as the Rift Trail gets dropped for some extra gold as well. Lola, though, getting chased down here. We'll hold our thought on young Deftly, as Lola going to have to juke his way out. Nice flash, but good from Matt to pressure enough to get the summoner spell out.
Another charge in the top lane, and that CS needs to be picked up, so the bottom lane will just swap out here. This puts the Dig bottom lane in a position really far back that doesn't let Ole roam a lot. So Matt with Moby should be free to roam around and not care too much about Misfortune, since she's going to likely collect that wave in top. EG is just raking in gold at this point. It's only 11 minutes in, but remember their gold graph that we saw earlier, like what their leads look like at 10 or 11? This is greater than their averages by, I think, a fourfold.
Yeah, by a lot. This is almost 3,000 gold ahead for EG, so very impressive early game here. Again, constantly playing, grouping together, and able to just support each other and give definitely this early Essence Reaver. As Ole and Phoenix will try and answer in the top lane. Demolish will proc. A little bit more to go to grab all the plates and the tower itself, but EG are probably fine trading given the lead they've built. They're going to grab this Ocean Drake for themselves instead, as it will reveal, I believe, the Cloud Rift for this go-around.
Ooh, that's a pretty exciting rift, all things considered. This 3v2 probably can't be pulled off here by Dignitas. 2 level 6s here, there's no Ornn ultimate, but the damage is really only the Varus here. Grig is quite behind, so he doesn't have enough to burst someone like Nautilus and Ornn.
Yeah, they're trying to chip away. Ulti here onto Lola, who again has no flash from earlier. Haymaker's up and ready, and they're going to go into stasis. Bullet time going to get burnt away, and Deftly once again is going to nab the kill.
So well played by Anda. You might be thinking, why is he using these Zhonya's right there? But fear not, he's making sure that Lurlo cannot use his ultimate to get out of that Cataclysm. So it keeps him locked down for Deftly, who continues to receive all the gold that EG want to put in his pocket. Another turret cashed in by him. He's going to be so quick to that Infinity Edge, and if Brandini upgrades that first, this is the strongest misfortune that this game has seen.
Yeah, I feel like definitely could not have asked for a better mid laner. You know, Gyu has constantly been in bottom lane almost every game we've seen him, and of course is hanging just fine in his individual 1v1 as well, as Diamante is going to be forced back a little bit further. This gold lead just getting a little out of control, to be honest with you. We're approaching 4,000 gold now as the gold lead mounts up, and with those 2 Drakes also secured, EG in position to just have almost a record-breaking early game for them, at least as far as their average getting pushed up goes.
Pretty outrageous lead, honestly. Usually even the Cloud9 LCS team doesn't actually go this hard this early, because they haven't really given up anything. They're losing these plates, but no turrets. And turrets mean map control, which if you don't have, you're starting to bleed out even more. Dignitas, I'd like to see them commit to another play. I think that they were really disheartened when they messed up the top lane dive against Ornn and never looked for anything again, but that's just not what's going to keep them in this game. They need to continue to pile on with Diamante, and he's going with a Blade of the Ruined King build to try to split push, but I don't know about that one. You do miss on a lot of power without that Phantom Dancer.
Yeah, not having crit on Yasuo can be tough, but I do appreciate that players are kind of throwing Blade of the Ruined King on everything ever since it got buffed for melee champions. And they're going to leap in onto the enemy jungle, going to steal that big chicken away, which again is most of that golden XP. Key difference, of course, between Cloud9 LCS and everyone else is that, yes, this is an impressive early game lead for EG, but how does it look in 10 minutes time, Crumbs? Because one of our big questions for Evil Geniuses Academy was how do they close the game? Because they consistently got early leads in their quarterfinal as well, but closing the game was not nearly as clean. If you can do that against the number 2 seed, then all of a sudden we have a very different perspective on the series as we did coming in. We thought EG was strong, but if they can just clobber Dig in the early game and then close that cleanly mid, then they're even stronger than we thought.
Yeah, and that is what happened in EG versus TL, where their early game was, okay, that's pretty good, but then when they came to closing, they really started to struggle. Here, we want to see control over dragons, pretty much immaculate control at this point. They need to secure this third one, and if they can show us that at least in one game, they can get a very early Dragon Soul, it shows that they have been working on their past mistakes, where they could get to 2 dragons, but then would maybe get picked off or overextend going for a play maybe a minute before the dragon spawns, and then if you mess it up, you die, and then the respawn just puts back every effort at contesting those objectives, whether it's vision or setting up for a fight. So keeping an eye on the timer and then deciding whether to fight or not will be what EG is most preoccupied with.
Well, they were looking at mid-outer, which was a nice bit of pressure, but with the Drake spawning in now just under a minute, EG are going to do the right thing and reset, buy up some control wards, and look to make their way around the next objective. Definitely, again, just considering to receive all of the benefits of this early game lead. He's 3-0-0, he's got 350 extra gold on his head, but most importantly, he has an Essence Reaver and now an Infinity Edge, finished at under 16 minutes.
Look at his counterpart, what Phoenix has now. I mean, I like Umbroglaive as much as the next guy. It's a pretty good item, but when you're dealing with 3 tank boys already, and you're forced to go Armor Pen after your lethality, and your MF is going to have an upgraded IE over you, oh, Phoenix is just, like, he has to just aim for Gyu at this point. Like, there's really no other target that he can think about either locking down in an ultimate or poking it effectively, so his work is cut out. It's just very tough because Gyu can just as easily one-shot him.
Yep, and they get the Rift Herald. They have more than enough time to transition down to Dragon, and they'll get the mid-outer turret. They'll get the gold as Gyu taps the tower to make sure. And now moving straight down this Drake. This is extremely clean top to bottom map play for EG. And I'm not good at math, Crumbs, so I cannot confirm this. But quickly looking at the item costs in my head, I think the best way I can demonstrate the separation between Phoenix and Deathly is I'm fairly confident Infinity Edge is worth more than all of Phoenix's items combined.
What? Okay, Glaive is 24, correct? And the other one is 14.
Lossus is 1400.
Yeah. So 38.
Yeah, I think it's close.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how much Infinity Edge costs, but look, all we can say is Deathly is clearly very far ahead in this game, and all of EG actually just popping off so far. 4,500 gold ahead, mounting up towards 5,000 gold. They did what you asked, Crumbs. They cleanly got that third Drake and even got the second Herald. In fact, without that tower that Dig did get for themselves in trade in top lane, we'd actually be looking at a perfect game here for EG. Instead, it'll be close to flawless potentially if Dig can't get any kills on the board. So, not a position we usually see Dignitas succeed in. They have not looked particularly good in games where they aren't ahead early, even though towards the back half of the season, I think they were better at playing longer games, because again, that was kind of what the meta demanded of you as a team, is you had to be able to play late better. But this is the lead that EG do not look like they're letting go of anytime soon.
No, they're really building it well. They're not overextending for plays, and I think that's the biggest difference that I'm noticing here. They don't feel particularly bloodthirsty, yet they're still finding the objectives that they need to go after. I think the champions really help with that regard. They're not champions that can just dash into the backline and immediately get popped. Right? It's maybe the tank line, but they are so tanky that they need DPS. And so this is just one of those standard compositions where nobody can truly just run it down to try to make their own play. You need each other to set you up, and that kind of comp usually holds the reins of the likelihood that somebody goes off on their own and makes a play that could cost an objective for the team.
Yeah, definitely pushing solo in the top lane. Damonte doing the same. He does have his Blade of the Ruined King now finished, so at least getting some side lane pressure, which is nice. In fact, he should be somewhat effective versus Brandini, although Brandini's so tanky right now that I think just the one item for Yasuo isn't going to be enough. Dignitas, though, trying to fend off the rest of the assault as Ole gets blasted by a bubble.
So much damage.
Out of Giyu.
So much damage.
I mean, already just one item's on the Silk Shoes for Giyu. It's not going to get any easier versus Zoe. There's basically no magic resist at all for Dig at this point, and the big moment of the game's coming up, Crumbs. 2.5 minutes. At 21 minutes, the Dragon Soul will be spawning. And if EG do it as cleanly as they did the last time around, Dignitas are going to have no hope of contesting, as this game is just snowballing wildly out of control.
No hopes of contesting, yet they could still go for the same thing that the Yasuo Gragas comp is known for. Just try to pick somebody with that ultimate. I think that the Blade of the Ruined King, you know, it's not bad by any means, right? You have a lot of power with the on-hit being procced on your Q, and chasing somebody down like Zoe could be really valuable as she speeds away from you. So why not just look for a target that the Yasuo can collapse on? So I know he's splitting into the bottom lane, but what I want to see Dig here do is let him get to the mid lane mark and then just collapse through the river, have Gragas sneak in someplace where EG's by themselves, and ult the target, see if you can burn some spells before the dragon fight. And if you can find a pick there, you've just bought yourself 5 more minutes in the game to look for another play or farm more items.
Yep, again, this Drake is coming up real quick, but EG will not be given it without a fight, is my guess here. EG now taking their recalls, they're going to go back, spend their money. In fact, Giyu did just pick up his Oblivion Orb, so he's ready to spell pen through pretty much everyone on the Dig side right now.
Whoa.
Dig will not be there pretty early, but we'll see if they can make it back out in time to contest for this Drake, because, like you said, they do have tools to at least find a pick-off and delay the game, because right now, that's all they can really ask for.
You got good items to deal with the penetration, yet Matt and Anda just finished their stone plates, so suddenly the tanks of EG just got as strong as they're supposed to be. So they are peaking exactly at the right time for their 4th dragon. Dignitas' contest is looking grim, but the 5-man tells me that they're gonna fight it no matter what.
Yep, they're certainly going to look for something here. Definitely also with an extra BF sword to join his already 2 completed BF sword items. Oh my goodness, Phoenix. That was a single double up from MF. And now Anders just pressuring. I mean, they have no AD carry, basically, after that bit of poke.
They can't fight it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, Phoenix can't really lifesteal easily. Can't afford to go back. People are falling asleep. Greg's ulting. Oh, they're going for the MF. Definitely getting out of their flashes. And Brandini now with a big ram in the flank. Ole with a nice block, but EG just charging in. They found Phoenix again. Anda snipes him out with a flag and drag. As the ulti out of the Varus is going to keep the rest of them away. Lola with a good face breaker. Brandini low and will be felled. So a 4v4 here for Dignitas, but I don't think they can do much else. And Giyu's just going off in the front lines.
1v4.
Stealing flashes, flashing around. Yeah, he kept them away. So that's going to be Dragon Soul over to EG.
Dignitas tried to do the play, right? Look for the immobile target, ulti them, but Grig made it so obvious. It was just A-ramming into the mid lane. There was no element of surprise, and when EG can just so easily collapse, I mean, look at this. You know what's happening.
Yep.
It's so easy for EG to collapse and immediately delete the Yasuo. There was no threat to Deathly whatsoever. They're lucky that Ole was able to cancel the Ornn Horn from really committing there, and that Anda was not in range of that Cataclysm. Good trade back there from Slorlo on Brandini, but besides that, they lost the Soul, and now Elder is the next objective for the Dragons.
Oh, Gyu is just, I mean, both the carries here on the EG side are just poke fiends at this point. I mean, Zoe's always like that, but that double up from definitely onto Phoenix was absolutely disgusting. And now I just don't think Dignitas can really enter this neutral space. I mean, it's not really neutral. It's just completely controlled by EG.
Yeah, it's got their flag marked all over it. They kind of know this, and look at what's happening in the top lane. Yasuo sneaking to the brush, and you've got Gragas here. This is the play they're looking for. This could actually be the one. Does Deathly have the Spidey sense, or does he continue to walk forward?
We'll see. He has been side lanes a lot, but they do not pull the trigger because they can't see the rest of EG. We, of course, know where they are, and that they're actually playing back and resetting the map, but Dignitas didn't want to go overly aggressive with no information, but definitely certainly has been picking up farm wherever he can. It's one of the reasons he's still ahead of Phoenix pretty significantly in CS. But nice move by him to not get overly aggressive. But I do really like the attempt for Dig, trying to punish Deathly's tendencies there.
Yeah, it's what they have to look for now that he has no flash. So they can actually try to pick on him again, just make sure that the rest of the team isn't quite as close to collapse. There is a stopwatch on him now, so he's making it a lot harder for Yasuo to engage onto him. That's going to be building up into that Guardian Angel next, which is a really smart itemization. Here we go.
And with the dunk, here's the Ornn wraparound, and that ram is good. The bullet time over the top, and that's Phoenix absolutely dead through that combo as Gyu extends that bubble into Grig, and EG are just going to siege here. Don't need Baron right now. This is an easy tower to take. And we'll see if they fall off to the objective or if they just keep plowing through mid.
It's surprising that that was Phoenix's second death, because it feels like EG have just been hammering the bottom lane for everything that they're worth, and Deathly score really is just not even close to that. They've been able to outmaneuver Phoenix and Ole ever since they were put on the back foot from that first gank attempt, and it's kind of impressive to see that it only took one gank for Deathly and Matt to run away with this game.
And now you can see Dig, like, we don't have any vision. They do intelligently ward around. EG, sorry, were trying to get more picks. And with the death time is finishing, it doesn't seem like they can rush towards Baron right away. So they will go back and just kind of tend to their side lanes as you see Brandini is moving down towards the bottom half of the map. So Dig respecting the fog of war there, but given how much control Digga kind of forced to let EG have, between either this first Baron or this first Elder in 240, just really tough for Dig without a pick to walk into these areas. And they're either going to hit Zoe bubbles or lose the objective or both. So Dignitas have to navigate very carefully. It's just, without someone making a mistake from EG, I'm trying to think of what avenues they have. Apart from what, I guess, using the Gragas Yasuo. Like
they're slim because EG now knows, just group. You don't actually need to even separate to give the window for Yasuo Gragas to combo on you. So Zoe, she could just push this wave, but she has no need to go beyond the tier 2. Right? She can just run through her own red jungle and go for a group into the mid lane as she does. So minimizing risk is all about EG's game plan now, and that makes it so much harder for Dig to find that avenue. Maybe baiting out Phoenix like they are now, dangling him in front of the Jarvan. Maybe this is their strategy.
That might be a little too bold, though. Phoenix has got no flash, and he's dead. Is definitely now unstoppable. Will take another kill. And EG, they're straight through mid at this point. They are not mucking around, Chrome.
They didn't care. They're going to go for the end if they can here, because they still don't know where Yasuo and Gragas are. They haven't seen anybody else on the map. They're just like, why was Phoenix there? Everybody else is Mia. Now an easy fallback into the Baron. This could turn into a bait as well, or simply a clear, as Elder is going to come up after they're done sweeping.
Yeah, going to clear out all this vision. Have plenty of damage. Definitely actually went for a Bloodthirster, as that third item probably has the GA coming up after that. But no need to rush things, as definitely has plenty of money to spend. He's also got the upgraded Molten Edge now finished as well.
The difference between ADs is so large right now. It's not even funny.
All right, well, looks like EG again just going to go back and play sensibly, not overextend. We also have a Death Cap finish for Giyu, because he's kind of second big item finished here and will be upgraded by Ornn as soon as Brandini gets another level into him. But just DIGA just falling further and further behind. And to EG's credit, you know, I said about 10 minutes ago, you know, well, how does the game look for EG at this point? Have they been able to cleanly control the map and take the objectives? And I'm happy to report, Crumbs, the answer is a resounding yes in this game.
Absolutely. The report card is a proud one. It's one you'd show. You don't need to start.
I'd stick it on the fridge, Crumbs.
Yes, it's a fridge report card. It's one that maybe your mother would even frame at one point if you can luck down the Baron.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I agree. If you get the Baron, I think that one's getting framed for sure, and everyone's going for ice cream. Giyu and Brandini trying to keep Grig out of there. Oh, they're going to block, but again, EG just trying to finish the Baron with a 3-stack. And that is going to go down. Dig just can't get in the area. Giyu's too powerful. Brandini's too tanky. And the Baron goes to EG's way. The report card's getting straight into that frame, Crumb.
It is, because now Grig doesn't have his ultimate to even contest this Elder in a proper way. EG can march straight into the Elder and get that objective too.
Yeah, and Giyu again, not even overextending. Not fishing for bubbles too far over the wall. EG just going to walk slowly towards the Elder Dragon and force Dignitas to fight them. And really in a fight that they cannot afford to play at all. And oh my goodness, Giyu with these little patches of cloud on the ground is zipping through the enemy jungle. And Grig is trying to wrap around to maybe find a steal here, but the vision is decent for EG and is even going to clear out this pink ward just to make sure. And now Dig have a real tough ask on their hands here. Giyu also with an extra smite. I don't think it's possible for Grig to steal.
Yes, oh, he didn't even try it. Well, there's no point in fighting here. They're going to all die.
Oh, what a dunk. Phoenix again with a bullet time, and Ole's going to barely get out of there alive, but Giyu's going to make sure that one at least falls. Anda still chasing in a proc Conqueror. And Giyu's just full speed ahead. He's got no mana, but he's got no cares in the world. The Elder Dragon pop is there as Ole falls down to Anda. And EG, they're 10,000 gold ahead. They are just rampaging into Dignitas' base.
They don't care. They want to mark this game one as an all EG. Their map, everything belongs to them. One final push, but it's not going to be a Dig win. Wait a minute.
Ooh, juicy last breath there with a 4-man knock by Gragas. But I don't think it's enough. It's cool at the end, but definitely is just out for blood. 700 bonus gold, 6-0 and 3, and looks to be straight A+ on the report card today, Crumbs. EG have shown up to play here in game one as Demonte. He'll get shot down and killed. Grig's going to meet the same fate. Ooh, he actually blocked the Elder Dragon proc. That was pretty cool. See you later, though. Brandini at the end of it's able to grab it, and the Nexus now open. That will be the first game as EG say 1 for the first tier. What a way to start their playoff series.
Wow,
Crumbs.
They must feel so good. They cleaned up the mistakes from last week and just mopped the floor with Dignitas. It wasn't close. It was methodical from start to finish. Get the lead bottom, start rotating around the map with the bottom lane, play to our ultimate, make sure mid lane doesn't die. You won.
Honestly, that looked eerily similar to week 1 Dignitas, when they were just destroying everybody in the league and it wasn't close. So EG have come a long way, and that's a resounding game 1 win versus Dig. We're going to step away there, but on the other side, we'll have game 2 of Evil Geniuses Academy versus Dignitas Academy. Don't go too far.
Houston? The brightness is increasing. There it is. Oh, yeah, beautiful.
Cars like this don't come around often. The redesigned Type R, the most powerful Civic ever, from Honda.
Yeah, I'm married. Doesn't matter. You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Hey, do they ever ask you what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Red sweater, button-down shirt. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.